Hello everybody and welcome back. I hope you guys are doing so well. First and foremost, I want to say I'm missing you guys a lot today. We're getting really close to your AP exam and I really wish we could just all be together reviewing for that. That being said, we are still gonna push ahead and finish up reviewing your content so that we can get all of you to pass your AP exam and get some good college credit for it. So before you watch this, if you guys haven't gone and taken that Google Form survey for me from Monday, go ahead and do that. Read through all of the information pertaining to your AP exam, and also make sure that Grammarly is disabled on your CMS laptop, so your Chromebook. Apparently, if you use Grammarly, that's like cheating, and you can't do that. So CMS has disabled the laptop, but you guys have to like turn it off and turn it back on to make sure that it's actually been disabled. So I put the instructions for that in Wednesday's assignment, so if you want to go back and do that. And then I'm going to be on Zoom pretty much every single day next week, so I'm going to set up Zoom meetings Monday through Friday next week for you guys. And if you want to send me an email or a remind telling me what time would be best, because I've done meetings in the mornings and it seems like a lot of you might still be asleep. So if you'll tell me what times work best for you guys so I can set those up for next week, that would be great. But let's go ahead and wrap up our Unit 5 content. We've just got 6 and 7 to go through next week, and then your exam is Monday, May 18th at 4 p.m. So it's coming really fast. All right, so we are going to finish Unit 5 today talking about sustainability. There are only 3 slides, so it's not a lot to get through. So the first topic of sustainability we're going to talk about is sustainable agriculture. So remember, if we're practicing sustainable practices, if something is sustainable, it means you get what you need, so your resources, while leaving enough behind to repopulate. So this is true of agriculture, of fish, of meat production. Basically, it's taking what you need, take only what you need, and let the earth heal itself so that you can come back and take resources in a sustainable manner. So in terms of soil conservation, the whole goal of soil conservation is to prevent soil erosion. Different methods of soil conservation include contour plowing, windbreaks, perennial crops, terracing, no-till agriculture, and strip cropping. And that's all stuff that we went over in this unit, and you guys should still have your PowerPoints linked on Canvas if you need to go back and review any of those things. Remember that the windbreaks and the wind shelters look like almost little fences for the agriculture that stops the wind from blowing. And obviously the goal of all of those is just to prevent the soil from eroding, and thereby providing fertile soils for agriculture, right? If you strip soil away, that's not sustainable because you can't come back year after year to plant your agriculture and get your food. Strategies to improve soil fertility include crop rotation and the addition of green manure and limestone. So remember, green manure, when we say it's green, it's just organic. So you're basically using an organic fertilizer. And remember, limestone acts as a natural buffer against acid rain, so it can help keep your soil neutral. Rotational grazing is the regular rotation of livestock between different pastures in order to avoid overgrazing in a particular area. And remember, overgrazing can lead to cattle pulling up the roots of grasses, which can lead to soil erosion. So the thing with this, if we think about these concepts and stuff, a good example of like an FRQ you might see would be, it would be like, describe 2 methods to prevent soil erosion, and you could list one of those 2 things and describe it. So just make sure you know what those things are and you're at least aware of it and how it leads to the prevention of soil erosion. Aquaculture. So remember, aquaculture is basically growing fish in these little like pens. This is open ocean or open water aquaculture. So you raise the fish, they're in the pens, and basically it's just like raising livestock or like chickens. You control how many are hatched, etc., and then you take them to market. So it's efficient, it requires small areas of water, and it doesn't require that much fuel. However, it can contaminate wastewater, and fish that escape may compete or breed with wild fish. So a lot of these aquaculture fish are genetically modified. And there's an issue with that because if you have a GMO fish that gets out into the wild and it's genetically modified to be superior in some ways, it's going to compete with natural fish. And you kind of ruin that biodiversity, right? They're competing with the organic fish, and if they breed with the organic fish, well, guess what? There's no such thing as an organic fish anymore. When fish are genetically modified, especially like salmon, they're supposed to be modified to where they're sterile, to where they can't really breed with one another, but there's always a potential for error there. And then the density of fish in aquaculture can lead to increases in disease incidences, which can be transmitted to wild fish. So if you think about, this is a good example with COVID-19, right? We're staying at home, we're social distancing because the more we're in contact with other people, the closer we are, the more likely that virus is to spread. Same thing with these fish pens. So you've got all these fish packed into this one area. And if there's some kind of parasite or disease that gets into the population, it can spread really easily. So that's a drawback of that. And again, when we learn about all this stuff, you have to think in context of what an FRQ might look like. So an FRQ could be, again, a compare and contrast, describe the benefits or the negative impacts of aquaculture, or describe how we can make aquaculture more sustainable. So just be thinking of that as we go over this. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is sustainable forestry. So methods for mitigating deforestation include reforestation, which is when you just replant trees, using and buying wood harvested by ecological sustainable forestry techniques, and reusing wood. So reusing wood is like, reduce, reuse, recycle. Methods to protect forests from pathogens and insects include integrated pest management and the removal of affected trees. So if you have a tree that has like a blight or something on it, you can take it out of the area to prevent the spread. And also remember, IPM is using different methods to help control pests. So you're not just using chemical, you're using, mechanical and also like biocontrol as well. And then prescribed burn is a method by which forests are set on fire under controlled conditions in order to reduce the occurrence of natural fires. And the way that this happens is a lot of times, especially after a summer with a lot of rain or there's a lot of vegetation that's grown up, that's a lot of burning fuel. So if for some reason there's a drought and conditions get very dry, there's a lot of biomass out in forests that if a fire were to catch, it would ignite the whole thing and be very detrimental. If you do a prescribed burn, basically, people of the Forest Service, firefighters will go out and they'll set a place on fire intentionally, and it clears kind of the underbrush and all that extra vegetation, while you basically have it under control so that it doesn't spread and, affect houses and people or animals around the area. And it clears out that underbrush. It helps with fertilizing soils, and also it helps because if there's like a natural fire that comes through after that, you've kind of already cleared out a lot of that underbrush, and it's not going to be as detrimental. Okay, so that's Unit 5, land and water use. It took us a couple weeks to get through that. We're going to hit 6 and 7 very quickly next week, just because those were the last 2 units we did before you left, so it should be fresher in your mind. Although with this quarantine, I don't know what's fresh in anybody's mind at this point. But you guys are all so smart, and you are all so capable of passing this test. It just depends on, how much effort you put forth into this last little bit of crunch time here. So today, again, if you guys will just go into your study guide and keep looking through that, working your way through it, answering any questions that you don't know the answer to. If you come across something you don't know, look it up first. Try to find the answer first. And then if you can't find the answer, let me know. All right. So the whole goal is for you to have a study guide in front of you the day that you take your AP test. So just increasing those chances that you guys will pass. Okay. So I hope you guys are doing well. If you have any questions about anything, reach out to me. And if not, have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you guys later.